Hi, Luke Wallens.
Hi, Shannon Stott.
Oh my gosh. And hi, Journeyers. Hi, Journeyers. We say hi, Journeyers, like they are middle schoolers. If I said like, hi,
Hello.
middle schoolers would punch me directly in my noggin. I feel like it's not a thing. So hi, hello, Journeyers. It's good to have you once again.
Nice to meet.
Nice to meet Luke. How are you? Hi. How are you doing? There's so many things. We haven't said anything about anything.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I'll mention it. So yes, I have moved to Chicago. So yeah. Yeah, I've been here for a couple of weeks, just acclimating, getting used to everything. It's taken a little while, but yeah, I'm here and ready to go. So
It's
yeah,
so exciting. You know what's great about you doing this is that our entire month is the theme is risk.
Oh boy. Oh boy,
You know,
is it?
it's about risk. It's about risk, and
Yeah.
you're doing it. You're living it.
Mhm.
I still have like a underlying topic. We could talk about risk in Luke's personal life all day long.
Yeah, there's so many things in that topic. Yep.
We could talk about Luke's or risk in all of our lives. Shannon's personal life, we could do
Yeah.
it. But let's if it weaves in, it weaves in. But for now, look what I've got for us.
Ooh, okay. How do we remember that it is not just this or that? There can be joy in surprise. Ooh. Oh, yay. Okay.
Yes, just not juice. There's not juice. Not. It's just. Thank
Juice
you.
this or that.
It's juice. Do you like this or that juice? Yeah, I was like the thought process is that when we are assessing risk, right? When we are about to take a risk, we tend to be like, oh my gosh, either I blah 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 is going to happen or blah 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 is going to happen. And even if we can think 5 or 10 or even 100 blah blah blahs that could happen, there's still one blah 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 that we don't know about. And it could be positive, it could be negative, it could be neutral, it could be it could bring up many emotions. But I feel like we don't talk enough about the joy in that surprise. Like, we talk about the anxiety and the fear and the ooh, but we don't talk about the joy.
So are you like centering on the what you like? You can prepare for everything, but it's the unknown factor that you cannot prepare for because you don't know it, and therefore we're looking at it from a joyful perspective. Is that right?
Yeah, and yeah, we're looking at that. You can't prepare, or rather, less of the preparation and more of the just the understanding. Like there is something out there that I haven't. Maybe it is the preparation, like that I haven't thought of, that I just don't know what's going to happen. And instead of focusing on, well, I just don't know, like what could happen, like leading into like, who knows? Yay! Okay, there's something out there that I don't know about. Like, how do we lean into that part?
Yeah. Ooh. Well. I'm gonna associate this with my move in terms of my stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Story time. Like I moved up my stuff through with a little box. So I moved up all like the majority of my stuff in a little box I packed up and sent off. I didn't pack it so well. I also did not. I got rid of like all of my chairs because I was just like, I just don't like any of the chairs that I have, and they're just either heavy, bulky, or blech. So I'm just like, I'm gonna get new chairs when I get there. I'm sure Chicago has a couple of chairs in there.
Chairs. One or two chairs.
Yeah, one or two chairs. There's probably a couple around. So yeah. So and I get here, and lo and behold, the previous tenants had left some chairs that I didn't know about at all. And I was like, "Ooh, that's a fun surprise." Um, one of which I'm sitting in right now. So it's great. Yay. And I'm like, "Ooh, this feels good." And then also because I didn't pack my, so that was. Let me back up. So that was like one really joyful thing about like, oh wow, like I know I'm gonna find those chairs somewhere, and I
Mhm.
know because I'm either gonna buy them or find them, like
Right.
but I know that they're gonna be there. Like I'm going to make that happen for myself. Um, so hi Adrian, good to see you. Yay. And then also and then also with oh yeah, so I didn't pack my box too well, and it turns out that my lamp had a very heavy base, and so
Mm.
but it was kind of like a dumbbell that was bouncing around everywhere, and so it was doing a lot of different damage on stuff. um Most of my stuff survived except for one bookshelf, which is particle
Oh,
board, and it just slammed on top of it and broke it. So like, oh no. But I was like, you know what, I'm gonna see if I can fix it. And I tried to fix it, but I broke it even further. So it's in the dumpster. But
all
but
right.
but the thing that I found with the joy that I found with that was I was like, you know what, it's a fresh new start, like it's a way for like my books to find a new spot, a new cavity. And it turns out that like most of my books could fit in this little bookshelf right there that was built
Oh,
in.
tiny little.
um, but I also found different ways to organize my books, and I think like if we're coming to something where we're taking a risk, like the risk is like, hey, I'm not going to pack that well. We'll see how it gently transports, or doesn't. But at the same time, approaching it with a joyful perspective, or I would say um, in a positive outlook perspective of like, okay, I'm going to see like how what I can do with the materials that I still have,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and how can I like like how can I put these in places where I still am like I can approach them. I can can look at these different opportunities just in a slightly different angle, than I'm used to.
Yes. Okay. Okay. We're gonna go backwards because I
Cool.
took I took little baby notes. Okay.
Ah!
Little notes.
Yeah,
Slightly different. Look at it from a slightly different angle than you're used to. I
yeah,
wrote down surprise, new perspective, and I really there is as we're finding the joy, right,
yeah.
as we're answering this question, let's see what the question is. Like there can be joy in the surprise,
Hmm.
new perspective when we take a risk and we're just and things are going awry, right, things are going awry because we've taken that risk. And that I am speaking specifically, generally, but specifically for stage, on stage. Okay, I'm going to try this new character, or I'm going to take the story in a place that I usually, I mean, no one's expecting, this thing to happen, but I really, that's what tickles me. Like, that's what's exciting to me. So I'm going to take it down this alley, this very bright, lovely alley that nobody usually walks down.
Yeah.
And maybe it doesn't work out. Like
Yeah.
maybe like people are just like, oh, this is rough. But also maybe you learn something at the end. Maybe it's difficult to go down that alley with your troop, right? We're working on it. and we're working that scene. But at the end of it, we learn something about storytelling. We learn something about um, what we're good at, what we needed. Like, oh man, I really have this idea, and I wish I had done ABC because that's what I needed from you all at the end when you're talking about it. But it gives you that like surprise, new perspective. I learned something. I'm looking at improv differently. The other thing is with the chairs. Well, all I wrote down was surprise chairs.
That's how I felt.
But here's the thing that sometimes your community will take care of you, your team
Yes.
will take care of you, and but you have to trust that maybe that's a thing that can happen, right? You have to move forward. And one of the things that you were talking about was, I mean, somewhere in Chicago there's got to be a chair.
Yeah.
Like somewhere in Chicago there's a chair. And when I think about being on stage, I think the first thought that comes to my head is somewhere in this scene, there's an end.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
somewhere there's some characters, somewhere there's a rising and falling action. And if I just risk it a little bit, my
Mhm.
community will come in and fill in where that somewhere is. My
Mhm.
community, my team, right? And I feel like there is joy in trusting in that. When we get
Yeah.
better at trusting it, it happens more often.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, and to go along with that, like with drama therapy, when I've worked with clients, like um, it's been about like, okay, we've agreed that we're gonna take a little bit of a risk in a different direction, with this one scene, and like say like, okay, and we're gonna take a little bit of a different direction, and I think with the difference between improv and drama therapy comes in where like you take a risk, and then with drama therapy, like you take a risk and then you reflect on it, and like, okay, because
Mhm.
it's a little bit deeper, you're throwing in your personal emotions into it, whereas with improv you're being more playful and finding your imagination with it. And
Yeah.
so it's easier to take risks because there's no like consequence, whereas like where with drama therapy, there's a little bit more of a risk factor because you're investing yourself a little bit more
Yeah,
into the
absolutely.
scene. Yeah.
Yeah. Can let's talk about the bridge.
Yeah.
It feels like improv can help us flex or work the muscle of
Hmm.
taking risk. Like, okay, I'm working this muscle, I'm working where I can find joy. And then drama therapy helps us to settle into the risk that we've taken so that we
Yeah.
can evaluate where we've come from and where we're going.
Hmm. Hmm.
I wonder if there's some of that in, because what do we get? We don't get that opportunity in improv to really like sit and think to ourselves, man, I didn't like that pirate. Like when I was a
Yeah, yeah.
pirate.
I mean, the thing is, I will say that it can come up, but it comes up in a different way in terms of
Mm,
like, like, hey, that character was offensive to me. I didn't really
mm,
like that, didn't really understand that. And so if we can, I would say bumper car it, just kind of like, just like, hey, we know not to do that now, as one of our things to not do, or we know something that we want to explore further. Great, we can
mm,
do either one. Um, Whereas like if we're exploring like a specific memory of somebody, like it'll be more of like careful steps about like, okay, cool, we're gonna just like think about things, we're gonna take a breath, and do we feel like we can move on to the next scene, or do we need to reflect on it a little bit more? So there's a little bit more safety valve measures with that. So,
safety valve measures. Yes,
yeah.
I want to talk about exploring it further.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you were talking when you said Oh, okay. When you said this character was offensive to me,
Mhm.
like you've done a scene, you're in the green room, and
Yeah.
this character was offensive to me.
Yeah.
Like, let's not do that anymore.
Yeah.
There's a conversation. Let's just get that up.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
There's a conversation um, there and here that I'd like to see if we can get into, which is, oh, what were you trying to do? Like,
Ooh. Yeah.
you just talk, you talk.
It's yes. Oh my gosh. I love that question. And if you feel comfortable and ready to have that conversation, do it. Great. And I
Yes.
think that's a wonderful question to explore because it's coming from curiosity rather than a defensiveness or anything like that. It's yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
No, that's so good because yeah, that feeling curiosity, I love that. It's coming from curiosity rather than defensiveness. And I want us to see if we can take, like, in yours and my conversation, how do we apply that? Like, okay, I took this risk, it didn't work.
Mhm,
This question of, like, what was I trying to do? Because
mhm.
we can get really bogged down in the it didn't work. I knew it wouldn't work. Now this, and we're
Yeah.
like really in the muck about how it didn't work. But the question, like, okay, what was I trying to accomplish?
Mhm.
Sort of opens something. I feel open when I ask that question. What am I
Yeah.
feeling, therapist?
Well, sorry, this way. But like you're still keeping that exploration open, and you're not
Mm,
shutting yourself down. What was I trying? What was I navigating towards? What was I wanting to explore? And just kind of like analyzing it from that perspective, rather than be like that exploration. We're going to shut down the exploration door. We're not going to navigate anywhere elsewhere. We're going to stay where we were at in our spaceship, and we're not going to do anything. Where it's like,
mm.
you know what, I still want to explore, and I know that that was not the right way to go about it. But it's still honoring the fact of like, yeah, I'm trying to explore as best I can, but I screwed up with this, and
Yeah.
you know,
Yes. And I love that because I love that we're this exploration, right? Okay, I'm trying to explore this thing. I tried it this way. It didn't work. I'm still trying to explore this thing. And that brings me back to this, it's not just juice or that. It's not,
yeah, not juice this or that.
it's not,
Yes.
it's not just juice or that. It's not just this or that, right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm trying to explore this thing.
Hmm.
Here's an option and here's an option. But maybe I try this option, it's
Yeah.
no good. Maybe
Yeah.
I go back and I try this option, it's
Hmm.
also no good. But the
Yeah.
exploration is still there, and
Hmm.
there are still many, many other ways to try it.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're saying this thing where in drama therapy, we get a chance to explore many different possibilities. And in improv, that time, if you're looking for that exploration, really you're looking for after the fact, or you're looking for after
Yeah.
the scene in the green room, talking to people.
Yeah.
But there can be joy in the surprise. I think my encouragement to you, the our
Yeah.
journeyers, is to go back, is to have, one, to have those conversations, and
Hmm.
two, to really think about what it is that you're trying to explore. And then with each show that you're in, like, see if you can explore a little more and let the people around you know, hey, I'm exploring
Yeah.
what you're exploring.
Yeah. And just kind of like, yeah, bring it back to, it comes back to the game of five things, of like, okay, cool, I'm just gonna
Oh,
list off, five things off the top of my head, most of which are not gonna work, but there's one that usually is really fun and funny to explore. um
right.
and like I seen that, I saw that in an improv show here where like they were, uh as they were building a platform of this world, the one guy was like, well, the suggestion was a fear of knitting.
Mm.
And so, the the father, had this business, and he was just like, well, we tried nylon, we've tried different materials, we tried metal, we tried, and so like, and now we did yarn, and so it's just so he instinctively did 5 things,
All things,
to
yeah.
settle on one thing, and being like, okay, fear of knitting, this is what we're gonna do. And like, what's the weirdest thing to knit? Like, cool, we'll come back to yarn, but maybe metal would have been fun too. Anyway, so just for me, but but like, it was kind of cool to see that happening, because
Mm.
it said everything that you were saying, Shannon, about like, it's letting the other improvisers know, I'm playing a game with everyone. We're playing 5 things, and I'm listing off some different things to figure out, and I'm exploring with you, and I want to explore with you
Yes.
to create this story together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm excited also because in that I'm exploring with you, and I'm exploring with you. I'm also exploring with myself,
Mhm.
right? And so what is surprising is that we're listing off those things, or he's listing off those things, and it's surprising to the audience, it's surprising to the people he's playing with, but we also can surprise ourselves. We're like,
Mhm.
"Oh, I I didn't know that was in me," which
Yeah.
is like such a big. I'm having a little bit like a revelation, because this part of the question, there can be joy and surprise. We think about, oh, okay, I'm going to make this shift, I'm going to take this risk, and whatever the outcome is going to surprise me. Like,
Mhm.
the outcome will surprise me, but maybe, and as an external thing, but
Mhm.
maybe also we need to reflect on the fact, or think about the fact, that when we take the risk, we also will surprise ourselves, because we have to shift within our bodies. This guy who's doing this, when we're playing 5 things, if
Yeah.
we're playing it freely, right, we can really surprise. Oh, right, I didn't. Right. I'm
Yeah.
surprising myself. Like,
Mhm.
who knew? I guess you can knit with metal. Like,
Yeah.
like it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. It's zany. It's fun. There's paper cuts. I don't
Exactly.
know. So yeah.
Good.
So yeah, like, there's a lot of different things that can be played with it, in
Mhm.
a playful way. And should we, like, I'm gonna make up a game on the spot, but do you wanna try? I'm gonna play with 5 things in a different way.
Well, first off, we need
Oh yeah.
this.
Yeah, we do.
We need that. It's impossible to not have that. And second, yes, let's
Yeah.
play
Cool.
let's play an improvised improv game. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, let's do it. So this game is 5 things, but we're gonna be having a scene, and whenever you want your scene partner to do 5 things of different movements, gestures, of specific words, of a whole phrase, the whole sentence, the whole response. Just be specific about what you want, and we'll see if we can explore a scene in a really fun way, as well as we can reverse back to being like, "Ooh, I didn't." Let's go back to this first response, if we
Got you.
need. So yeah,
I
okay,
love it. I love this. Okay,
cool.
we're making things up.
Yeah,
Where are we? We're
okay, cool. Let's go. Let's do a bakery.
Yes. Yay.
Let's do a bakery, and we're both just baking cookies. We're both
Okay.
like getting all the materials together for
I
cookies.
can I can do this. Okay. Wow. This almond flour,
Hmm.
I milled it myself. I ground
Oh,
up, I like toasted the almonds.
five things, and of different types of flour.
this almond flour, I mean, this bacon flour, I mean, this pine tree flour, I mean, this the dandelion flour, this it's just like shavings from my eyebrows. It's flour though, and this
Let's do it.
flour, flour.
Oh yes, yes I do. Yes. Oh my gosh, I love this flower so much. This is the best shaved eyebrows flower ever. So
It took me so long because I really had to like grow my eyebrows out.
right. Yeah, yeah. And sometimes you gotta pluck it. Sometimes it's like you
Well,
gotta like
five ways to get eyebrow flour.
right, yeah. Sometimes it's just like squeezing it, like milking it. Sometimes it's plucking, sometimes it's shaving, sometimes calling birds and sometimes it's asking the eyebrow gods to come down and shed flour and eyebrow.
Oh my gosh, when I love it when you call the birds to pluck your eyebrows because you have such a beautiful voice that when birds come, it's just wow, it's a whole experience. I'm glad we named this bakery, Birds of Paradise. It's so
Yeah,
like, I feel
yeah,
like
me
it's
too. Me too. Like, I mean, the name of this bakery, it's just a really wonderful, relaxing place to be. We have
five different five iterations of the title that we went through before we landed on Birds of
And you
Paradise.
remember the names that we went through? We went through birds of rocks. We went through rocks of birds.
Yeah, that was a great one.
We went through paradise magma. We went through oh bakery. And then we went through just rocks. Just
Yep,
rocks bakery.
just Rock's Bakery
Yeah,
was a good one, and it was
it
just too
was.
bad it was taken down the street.
Yeah, I
Just
know.
like,
Yeah.
they
No,
really have a good thing.
it's like it was a rock school as well as a geology school and a
And
baker.
bakery. Can you believe? Like, we should have done that. We should have gone
Yeah.
into like a combination
Hmm.
bakery something. But I really liked our cakes and our
Yeah.
cookies and our eyebrow flour
Yeah.
danishes.
Yeah. Yeah. And we did like five different what was the five different we combined five different things and then we just ended up just doing a regular bakery. But what we
Yeah, I remember those. We did. We combined. We were like bake shop and pencil sharpening. Remember?
yes.
And then we
Oh,
were just
we were
thinking
close with
that's
that
not
one.
going to work. So we
Yeah.
were fluff your couch and fluff your meringue. Remember that? It was so
Yeah. But
good.
it got way too fluffy. Yeah.
It was too fluffy. And then we had just normal bacon and eggs,
Hmm.
but there was nothing bakery about it.
Yeah.
We
No.
should have called it bakery and eggs. So just
Bakery. Ah.
eggs.
Oh
And then
wow.
just the easy ones. We just had like
Big,
all
big-
almond and nuts, just
yeah.
almond and nuts, and
Almond and nuts. Yeah.
elephant parade, elephant
And see.
bakery.
Yay. Oh,
That's
that
a
was fun.
great. It's a great game. You need to go sell that game, peddle that game
Yes,
to all of the places around there.
I
That's
will.
fun.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, because this,
Yeah.
it's not just this or that. Like
Yeah.
this idea of like what kind of flour there is,
Mhm.
or
Yeah.
all of the things that we went through. Wow, your brain can really just it can't imagine everything. It can't
Right.
imagine everything. It's
Yeah.
so strange.
And yeah, but also just taking that fifth iteration, like your brain is exhausted with going through all the filters and everything like that, and be like, you know what,
Yes.
let's just do elephant parade. Great,
Right.
cool. Sweet.
I'm tired. I have a dream.
Yeah,
Exactly.
awesome.
Exactly.
and so yeah, like and that can be like the joyful thing about like, oh cool, great, we're just, there's no filter, we're just gonna like and just play with it and have fun with it.
Yeah, yes. It means a lot to me to talk about these things.
Me too, me
It
too.
does because I forget that there are ways to take risks that don't feel so negative, really, that don't feel so like doubtful, that riddle you with doubt about your entire existence on the planet, you know.
Yeah,
There are definitely ways that you can feel joyful about the risk that you're going to take or that you take, and then have the time to contemplate, like
yeah.
what you were talking about. Like, okay, what am I exploring? How do I continue
Mhm.
to explore it?
Yeah, and also like there's that like even though you're taking a risk with one thing, being like, I don't know if that option was there. You have four other options to go back to
Mhm.
and to come back with and be like, you know what, like that feels better for what we're doing.
Yeah.
And so and like you don't have to uh, like grovel with like, oh god, oh I can't believe I made the bad decision, because I get into that a lot about like, oh I can't believe this risk was so horrible, I can't believe this. There's
Mhm.
one, in that game there's no time for it, but two, like like that like you'll be received, to play again, in a lot of
Yes.
different ways too.
That you are received to play again, like you are received to play again, in whether you're taking a risk on or
Off the stage.
by. Y'all, that was good, Luke.
Yeah,
You're good,
yeah, you're
you're
good,
good.
you're good, you're good.